The Bitcoin blockchain is revolutionary. A decentralized, censorship-resistant and transparent ledger of value. However, that transparency is also one of its biggest flaws. Every single transaction and wallet balance is visible to everyone. The government, hackers, your jealous ex, everyone. Now that I've got your attention, I want to present a potential solution. Monero. My name is Guy, and in this video I'll be giving you an in-depth overview of this increasingly popular privacy coin. Now, before we get this review rolling, I need to lay out some T's and C's. Firstly, this should solely be considered as an educational resource and not as investment advice. And secondly, if this is your first time at the Bureau, then I highly suggest hitting up that subscribe button and turning notifications on. You won't regret it. All clear? Time to draw back the curtains on Monero. If you've not heard about Monero already, it's a peer-to-peer digital cash that was developed specifically for privacy. Given the untraceable nature of its blockchain, it's perhaps the closest that you will get to a fully anonymous cryptocurrency. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't Bitcoin anonymous? Well, no, it's not. So while your name is not on your Bitcoin address, everything else about this address is visible. Hence, all someone needs to do is connect your name to this address. With Monero, this cannot be achieved. Even if you had someone's public address, you could not observe its balance. You cannot trace transactions. Its units are completely fungible. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term, fungible means that a currency is identical and mutually interchangeable with another unit of the same currency. So 1 ounce of gold is identical to 1 ounce of the other. Two separate Moneros cannot be distinguished. However, Bitcoin bought on the dark web is not equivalent to the one you bought on Coinbase. How effective is Monero? Well, it's probably viewed as crypto enemy number 1 by numerous regulatory agencies, so pretty effective. Just a quick backstory though. Monero was built on the Cryptonote protocol and was launched back in 2014. It was born out of a disagreement with a developer and the broader community. There are two key components that allow Monero to keep its blockchain hidden. These are stealth addresses and ring signatures. With a stealth address, Monero allows a sender to create a one-time public address for every single transaction on behalf of the recipient. However, the recipient can still use a single address that receives all incoming payments. Basically, when you get started on Monero, you'll generate a private view key, a private spend key, and a public address. As the name suggests, the spend key is used to make payments, the view key will be used to signal for incoming transactions coming to your account. And of course, that public address is for receiving all incoming transactions, so just like a Bitcoin address. With me so far? Okay, now let's move on to ring signatures. Ring signatures is a concept that is used in general cryptography. It's essentially a signature that can be signed by any member of a group of people who have private keys. However, a key feature of a ring signature is that it's impossible to determine whose key was used to sign, so it provides that anonymity. Now, Monero has implemented these ring signatures into their transaction protocol. It'll make use of your private key along with a ring of possible other signers on the network. However, because ring signatures give anonymity to the signer, no one can determine which signature is that of the true account. Now, this is of course a relatively simple explanation, but I encourage you to take a look at the Monero docs. Lots of great resources. You may also want to read up on ring confidential transactions, which hide transaction amounts as well. But what does this all mean for the Monero user? Well, it means that you can freely share your Monero public address with whoever you want. You can receive payments into that address as many times as you want. However, no one can see what you hold or when you transact, all hidden from prying eyes. Now, there is another really important point to make here, and that is that all transactions are private. It's not an opt-in feature. All network participants on Monero help to uphold the privacy of everyone else. Now, this is unlike other well-known privacy coins like Zcash, which have made this feature opt-in. Of course, there are pros and cons to each approach, something that I'll touch on in a bit. Oh, and while we're on Zcash, you may want to take a look at my video on Zcash, which is right here. Anyways, I want to move on now and look at Monero's approach to mining. Just like Bitcoin, Monero is a proof-of-work cryptocurrency, which means that it is mineable. Up till very recently, it used to use the Cryptonote hashing algorithm. However, on the 30th of November, there was an upgrade that moved to the RandomX algorithm. Something that the Monero developers and community as a whole have been quite adamant about is their aversion to ASIC mining rigs. While many other so-called ASIC-resistant blockchains have given up the fight, the Monero devs have kept pushing back. Their view is that ASIC mining can lead to the centralization of the network. Centralization is a threat to any distributed network, and especially one that relies on privacy. In order to stave off this threat, the Monero developers have implemented a number of hard forks that have rendered these ASICs moot. The RandomX upgrade will take this one step further by using random code execution and memory hard techniques. If you want more info on the algorithm, I've linked to some helpful resources below. This is also great news for those of you who have GPU mining rigs, as it means that ASICs won't be driving down the returns and increasing the mining difficulty. In fact, RandomX has been optimized for CPU mining, so this could further level the playing field to a wider array of participants. Now, what do you guys think of Monero's anti-ASIC stance? I'm keen to hear your thoughts below. Now, we can't talk about Monero mining without going through its native currency, XMR. This coin was released without any ICO, pre-mine, or founders fund. It sits comfortably in the top 20 of market cap rankings and has the highest market cap of any other privacy coin. It currently has a circulating supply of just over 17 million. Now, interestingly, there's no max supply. That's because the Monero Economics works a bit differently. There will be a total supply of 18.4 million Monero. However, unlike Bitcoin, which has a fixed supply of 21 million, Monero will continue to emit 0.6 XMR per block infinitely. This is called tail emission and is scheduled to kick in May of 2022. Now, why do this, you ask? Well, it provides an important economic incentive for the miners to keep mining. Miners are capitalist creatures. They'll only mine as long as the ROI is there. Once block rewards drop to zero and competition increases, this ROI decreases. So the Monero developers have thought ahead for this. Now, XMR, like the rest of the crypto market, has been on a wild ride. All-time highs of just below $470 were reached in the 2018 bull run. Of course, I don't need to tell you what has happened since. Anyways, let prices be as they are. I want to talk now about the broader Monero project and development. Monero is a completely open source project with a wide array of developers working on it. So that means, despite what crypto journalism will have you believe, there is no founder or CEO of the project. This chap does look pretty super smart with those glasses though. Yet there is a core team of developers working on Monero. One of the most well-known of these is Riccardo Spagni, aka Fluffy Pony. Riccardo is the lead maintainer on Monero and became involved with Bitcoin all the way back in 2011, so a crypto OG. As an open source project, Monero has to rely on donations from the public in order to fund new initiatives. This is done through their community crowdfunding system, or CCS. This mechanism gives the community the ability to either support the project through proposals or funding. Pretty neat. And speaking of developments, there has been quite a lot going on in Monero repos over the past 2 years. On top of the forks that were done to stave off the ASICs, there were a number of improvements and optimizations. For example, there was the deployment of bulletproofs on the Monero protocol. This greatly improved the efficiency of Monero transactions. Since this deployment, the size of an average transaction has dropped by at least 80%. Of course, this also had a similar impact on the average Monero transaction fee. You also have the heavy development that is taking place on Kovri. This is a C++ implementation of the I2P network. This will allow you to route your Monero-related traffic through the encrypted I2P network. kind of like Tor. Why does this matter? Well, it will obfuscate your IP address and hide the fact that you are even running a Monero node on your PC. It's one more step to the holy grail of complete anonymity that Monero is striving towards. Of course, this is just a simple explanation. I've linked to some additional Covery resources below should you be interested. There are also a whole host of other improvements that we can look forward to on the Monero network. As mentioned, we just had the recent network upgrade, and there are still a whole host of proposals being assessed. You can just take a peek into their online repos and developer forums to get a sense. Now let's move away from the code for a bit and look at the market, shall we? As mentioned, Monero is a pretty popular cryptocurrency. It does well over $100 million a day in daily trading volume. It is also listed on quite a wide array of exchanges. These include many of the well-known platforms such as Binance, Kraken, Huobi, Bittrex, etc. It also does a whole host of volume on some lesser-known offshore ones. Wide exchange support is great for the price discovery of a cryptocurrency. It allows traders to get a better sense of the true price of an asset, undistorted by supply-demand imbalances. So, how does the liquidity look for XMR? Well, pretty good in general. Taking a look more specifically into some order books, it is similarly impressive. For example, here are the Monero Tether order books on Binance. As you can see, they are pretty deep, which means that it can absorb any order size. The bid-ask spread is also quite narrow, which implies limited slippage on reasonable order sizes. So, from a market microstructure perspective, Monero has got the liquidity and exchange support that allows easy conversion. While this is the case currently, it may face difficulty going forward. As we know, Monero is private by default and has no way to opt out. Now, while this is a feature and not a flaw, it does place exchanges in a sticky situation. Because they cannot track the transactions coming in, they have no way of knowing whether their exchange is being used for any money laundering purposes. And in order for a centralized exchange to effectively operate, they have to kowtow to the regulators. As I've pointed out, the regulators don't like Monero. So, we're left with a situation where exchanges either have to operate outside of particular jurisdictions or delist Monero. Already, we've seen exchanges such as OKX and BitPay drop Monero. Could others follow suit? Can Monero still function with the resulting drop in liquidity that this could precipitate? Or will decentralized exchanges be able to fill the void? All open questions that can be debated ad nauseum. But what do you guys think? I'm keen to hear. I want to conclude this review now with a few final thoughts. Firstly, if you've watched my Zcash video, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of privacy coins. Bitcoin started the race to a fully anonymous digital cash, and coins like Monero are picking up the mantle. Monero also has some of the most advanced cryptographic technology embedded in its protocol. It has the staying power and has proven itself through the years. It's fully open source with a community that's driven more by ideology than profit. They understand the importance of privacy and financial freedom. They're also aware of the challenges that the project faces and are willing to adapt to address them. This can be evidenced by their stance against ASIC miners and the work being done on Covery and other protocol updates. Yes, exchange support could be a problem in the future. If the regulators really want to, they can drive all Monero trading off of centralized exchanges. They can make fiat conversion a major choke point. Yet, Monero must be doing something right if it is viewed as such a threat by these regulators. Perhaps other avenues will be opened up to exchange Monero. Maybe we could see a time when it's just used like a normal currency. You won't have to convert your Monero into fiat. You can use it just like it was intended, untraceable, peer-to-peer digital cash. And that brings to a close my overview of Monero. But I need to hear from my community though. What are your thoughts on Monero? Any Zcash fans out there? Other privacy coins that I should know about? Hit me up in the comments. Otherwise, if you found my video helpful, please do like and subscribe. My next review will be with you soon. Oh, and Susan, if you're watching, that Jealous X example was just for education purposes. I didn't really stash my sats into Monero.